Welcome to the Growth Banter Podcast. My name is Blake McCullough, CEO and founder of GMS Media Group, one of Australia's leading digital marketing agencies. This podcast is for anyone looking to learn the insights and strategies of industry leaders and how to lead a successful life. Today, I'm joined by Blakey Johnson, professional surfer and world record holder, and he's going to share how he's dedicated his life to the ocean and using it as a tool to be the best version of himself and raising awareness for mental health. I hope you enjoy. Welcome, Blake.
Thanks for having me, Blake.
We've got Blake Squared in the house today. Mate, you've done some pretty amazing things recently, and more notably, your world records. One was 40 hours in one session in Cronulla, and then most recently, you surfed 4,097 waves. I had to look that up again because I looked at it again. And I'm like, that's a fucking insane stat that you've done that many waves in consecutive sessions at the wave pool recently, and now you've got two world records, and an unofficial record of the most consecutive sessions at the wave pool. But I want to sort of start with how did you sort of find that moment in life of dedicating your life to the ocean and undertaking these feats?
Oh man, that came pretty naturally and easy to me. Hey, as a youngster, I had a dad who grew up as a surfer and a respected surfer in Cronulla, and my two older brothers surfed from as long as I can remember. We only lived over the hill from the beach, never further back than a couple of suburbs between mum and dad moving houses because dad was a builder, so we're always within walking distance or a minute or two's drive from the beach. So it was always just a part of my life. My first memories of standing on the beach at the alley with me and floaties and my dad holding the board. He'd take me out on and ride me into shore. So I was like, it's always been a feeling innate part of me. But I do specifically remember when I was allowed to go on my own, because I wanted to be out there with my brothers. Dad worked so hard that he'd come home and he'd be tired as from being a brickie and working in North Sydney, and come home and on this little froth and grommy, he'd be waiting on the doorstep. And every day I just was so keen and I had to wait for him because I was tiny for 8-year-old. I was actually really small for my size. And I clearly remember the day that he just said, yeah, go chase your brothers. And it just felt like absolute home. It felt like freedom, and just it always has that feeling about it. If you surf or go to the ocean, you never come out of it going, I wish I didn't do that. So,
yeah. Oh mate.
And there's science behind it too. There's reasons why that is so calming for our nervous system, and it's something I take responsibility for to make sure I'm doing. It's not just surfing. I always thought it was just the beauty of the ocean, and the sense of mastering a skill and that progress. But it's been studied that looking at that vast open space and that rhythmic sound of the ocean that calms our nervous system and helps us feel relaxed and safe.
Yeah, you never get out of the ocean going, wow, I wish I didn't do that.
No, not at all. No.
And it's a pretty amazing place to grow up in Cronulla. I can say so myself. Just moved back there, so fellow Shire residents, and
two Blakes from the Shire.
I know, right? Two Blake Shire. But although my level of surfing is definitely not on your level of surfing, but I would definitely want to get some inspiration from you today, and just sort of peel back the layers on what it takes to even prepare for such a challenge that you put your body through.
Yeah, well, I guess it doesn't just happen overnight. Just go, I'm just going to do something really hard. I think it's
even at your level, you can't just walk into something like that.
Yeah, not at all. But like especially that last world record, I think that to me it's a really important one to me to talk about, because it shows that if you live healthy and happy, have good mental health, you're functioning well, you're optimistic, and have that, I call it swell-being mindset, a growth mindset, then you're going to see opportunities like that. It was only 2 weeks before the Urban Surf contact and go, hey, would you consider doing a Winter Warrior and being our ambassador? And what about going for a world record? And I'm like, oh yeah. And it's
you had 2 weeks to prepare for that.
I only had 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it just pays homage to what you do every single day in your life. Not those big moments, not having these 3 world records that I got. That's all good and well, and they give us that direction. But the best part is who you become along the way. And you be accountable to those habits day to day, so you show up your best self all the time. And I know it's spoken about, and there's a lot of cliches around it, but it really does come back down to that. If I want to be a good husband and dad, it's every day. It's not once a month, once every 6 months. It's who I show up and how I show up when I'm not feeling great, and and be able to be there as the best I can each day.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that. Like it's a way of life, right?
Yeah.
That's what at that level, it's like professional surfers. They're doing it every day, and I know that you were on the pro circuit back in the day, and you've sort of coached Connor O'Leary, I believe, sort of on that sort of that level as well. And like, what's it take from a mindset point of view on the pro circuit, like outside of just surfing every day, like that level of mindset and surfing, like how does a professional surfer sort of go through the process of that pro circuit, the whole team that they'll need behind all of that as well? Like, what goes into that?
Yeah, like I think surfing, without even realizing it, you build a great sense of resilience. You're always adapting to the environment around you. So, and if you're at that elite level where you've put the time in, you've got the experience, you do learn how to roll through the losses. Because in surfing, you're not always winning. Like Kelly Slater's won 56 events, and he's the best surfer of all time, or somewhere around 56 events, and he's the best to ever do it, best competitive surfer to ever do it. So he's lost thousands more times than he's won. And it's just like every day we paddle out, we know that we're not going to, we show up on the shit days looking for that best moment. It teaches us to have that growth mindset. Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting wiped out. And it'll consistently happen. And we do that subconsciously because we're looking for those best. It really is, I know it seems cheesy coming from me, but it's like, it's the perfect metaphor. Like we rock up on the shitty, windy, rainy days, and we still look for the good in it. We're looking for the best moments in it. You know what I mean? And I think that the good ones can take that to shore and use that as fuel to learn to get better and keep continuing to seek that progress. But, ideally it's just like any other sport. It's their ability to have that intent focus on that one thing. They want that more than anything. And just like any challenges I've done, I know that like you've got to want it more than you fear it. And that's the way to lean into it.
Yeah, that's a good one. Want it more than you fear it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of it's a dangerous sport too. I think like it's like the heavy fucking big wave events and stuff. Like everyone's putting their body on the line there.
Yeah.
At those events, and fucking Chopu pipeline, and just like listening to some of the pro surfers on the circuit and just like the heaviest wipeouts. It's like when they start unbreaking it, you realize how dangerous of a sport it is.
Yeah.
Now they've got helmets coming in as well, which sort of weren't around. So I think
sometimes that gets like a little bit lost when it goes out to, people just wanting to be a surfer and taking up surfing late in life. Like it is pretty dangerous. You know what I mean? The surfers that are out there, and they've got a lot of awareness and a lot of self-awareness and awareness of their surroundings, that you don't teach. You got to learn through an experience, takes a lot for an experienced surfer can sit there and look at the ocean and waves are coming at them, and they know that the wave they can't see, 20 seconds away is going to be the wave they want to ride. That innate connection, that takes time and experience in order to build and understand all the essential things that you're taking when you're out there in the water. Like that takes time, that takes commitment. And, it's this funny thing is, I know I'm blabbering on a little bit here, but like, it's almost like beginners and other surfers don't realize how hard it is to get really good.
Yeah. To be levels.
To have that innate connection and that read on the ocean and be able to adapt to the moment around, paddle out on those crap days and find good little sections and moments. And I think sometimes the experienced surfers don't realize it's quite easy and something so good for us just to paddle out and stand up on a wave. That's thrilling for most people, and it's so good for so many reasons.
Yeah, fully.
So there's a bit of a disconnect there, but I think there's a lot of surfing's it's so good, man. It's my number one tool. Like if that's wave pools. So we were speaking about wave pools before. I'm like, that's just opening it up for more people to, feel something special, to be present in that moment, because that's what being on that wave requires you to do.
Absolutely. I mean, I've definitely been more of a seasonal surfer. My old man put us on bodyboards actually back in the day, which I'm a little bit dirty by. Which he put me on a surfboard earlier. I only started surfing in my teenage years, but I've always sort of done a lot of things hobby-wise when I'm younger and never really stuck to one thing and really went deep with it. And I think now that I'm sort of getting older, gravitating to the things that I know gives me a lot of value. And the difference between when I'm surfing a lot and not is chalk and cheese. And you can actually see the energy of surfers, when you meet someone who's sort of out in the ocean a lot, you can see, like you said before, you can feel that energy and the positivity and like the connection that they've got and their personalities. You can read like someone who is connected and someone's not connected, and that's like, that comes down to, mind, body, and just being,
it's connection too,
it's
right?
energy.
Like you think about that energy that a surfer carries, a stoked surfer, that word's for real, right? Like the waves, we're just gliding across waves, but those waves are like sometimes form from storms thousands of kilometers away from where we're actually riding them. They march up the coast and create swells and wrap into bays and headlands and form up on the shape of sandbanks and reefs, and we're sitting there stoked to glide them, and that energy is positive. It makes us feel good, and then we carry that to the shore and throughout our lives and sort of bring that stoke in and lifestyle into land. So I think it's a pretty, that lifestyle is what attracts a lot of people, that they get that stoke, that you're present out there, you're connected with nature, there's camaraderie when you're sharing that experience with other people, and there's nothing bad about it. So like, the more people that surf, the world would be a happier place, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and it just comes down to like what all the mental health tools, tips and strategies are. It's bringing you into that present moment, so you've got that space to make the right decision to take you towards the person you want to be.
Yeah.
I think that's a simple analogy of it, but that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
To be able to be here and now and make those choices that ultimately align with what means to be successful and live a big life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree. And I think like paddle fitness is another thing that people don't realize, right? And I want to start with like unpacking, 40 hours in the water in Cronulla that you did back in 23. How did you sustain yourself out there? Because like I go out for an hour and I'm cooked. Wave pool, I do one session, I'm cooked. Like how does your body go through 40 hours of surfing?
I think
non-stop?
It's definitely more mental than it is physical.
Okay.
And I learned that through applying myself to some uncomfortable things before I was in the ocean in my natural environment, challenging myself. I started to run when I made a few lifestyle choices, and just wanted to be a better person. And I ended up doing a barefoot marathon with no food, water, or supplements the whole time. Wow. That was my first sort of big, personal project that I thought, I'm gonna do it this way. And then running 100 miles and doing a couple of 100K barefoot runs and big mountain bike endurance days and nights and just stuff that wasn't surfing, because I'd always been tied to the surfer, right? And then for me to be running and riding mountain bikes and felt foreign, I was just tied to that identity of being a surfer. And I think having that evidence, doing this stuff that, I'm a surfer, all I've done is spent time in the ocean and that's where I'm good. It was where I learnt, that my vulnerability was a strength, and I just leant into that a bit and made sure that, I was doing things that I never thought I'd do and pushing through things in places I never expected to be, being stuck out in the national park with no reception and being 90 Ks into a run and just crying because I just felt like shit. And then 10 minutes later, you feel like you're the king of the world, and just learning that just like pain is a feeling, just like we feel depression, we feel anxiety, all these things are we say we feel it, it's an embodied experience. And I know that I've had that experience where you move through it, and it's what we do every day, man. We don't stay happy all day. We ride, we're tired, hungry, we feel all these different things, and
we're
we
literally
move through
riding
them.
The wave of emotion, right?
Yeah,
every day.
Some are harder and some are stronger, and then you deliberately expose yourself to it. You learn that you can move through it, and it becomes easier. And that's, I guess, what resilience is. Just being able to adapt to the environment and just remembering that, like, your emotions, how you feel, are a byproduct of what you've experienced, of what you've exposed yourself to, and through the choices you made. So that's where I think I got to the ocean, and I was like, probably unrealistic with what I'd put myself through, and just went, if I can be in my natural environment, I should be able to do it. Have the community support around me in my hometown, in the place where I was standing 35 years earlier with my dad in floaties. I think it was all spiritually lined up and just seemed like it was meant to be.
It's your happy place.
Yeah, it was. It was just like a lot of things. There was moments in that surf where I was just like, especially the last 5 hours, that I was just like, I've been here before. It wasn't a thinking, it wasn't a feeling or a belief. It was like a knowing, like 5 hours of deja vu. You just knew this little bit of wind or swell was going to come, and I'd ride it. So I'd been awake for 3 days. I didn't sleep the night before. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, so there was I paddled out the start of that challenge 45 hours awake. Only me and my wife knew that. And that was sort of something that would occasionally come back into my thought process when I wasn't feeling great in the water. My body was just exhausted.
Yeah.
Just going, wow, you've never been awake this long and you still got to ride all these waves. But I just, trusted the process and just totally accepted that I was where I was. And that was the biggest lesson from that surf. There was a moment where I was just like, I hate myself. I hate what I've done. And you think about integrity, you're going to paddle in, are you? When you've told people you're going to do 40 hours, and I'm sure no one would have cared. I'd already broken the world record, but just that, that acceptance, you're exactly where you're meant to be. That was sort of the big lesson I got through that, through a hard physical challenge and moment, and just deep on as dark as you get on the emotional spectrum. And just remembering that moment, and that was sort of just a huge pull from it.
What point did you sort of, tell yourself that you wanted to get out, like through that process? Was it during the night? Because wouldn't that be a bit terrifying at night?
Man. Like I said, you said before, the waves of emotion. Like when I first rocked up, like it was way bigger than I thought.
Was it? Yeah.
I thought it was, ideally.
What size was it?
It was like 5-6 foot.
Yeah, right.
It's just closing out. It was an east swell, so there wasn't any rips and channels that were pulling out the back. They were on the shore. So it was just messy white water. It was nice and clean, no wind, but the rips were close to shore, so there was just closeouts. And I did 400 duck dives before the first sunrise came up. So it gives you an indication of holding your position and trying to ride those waves. But my way around that, and to take my mind off the bigger swell, the fact that my mates, the support buddies, so for safety we had to have the support buddies in the water as part of the requirements.
Yeah.
But that was too big for some of them to paddle out. They weren't comfortable paddling out and spending an hour with me. So I had to go out on my own, and then they'd come out, and my mates that are good watermen and that, they were out there with me and like, this sucks, man. This is hard work. You can have it. But and there's those big jellyfish. Remember those jellyfish? Those big brown jellyfish. They came out of the river they were in the river. The water was super warm that time. That summer. Those big jellyfish were there. So all these things. I was so frustrated and angry in the first hour or two, just going, this is I'm really going to have to earn it,
Yeah.
It was just
not
like,
as easy as you thought it was.
I envisioned high-fiving my mates on a little shorey going, yeah, good at this. But I was duck diving, getting stung by jellyfish, and
any blue bottles
not
out?
seeing anyone, and so far out the back because it was too far out for the spotlights. We had these big spotlights set up that we'd tested the week before. But because the swell was 3 foot bigger than when we tested them, they weren't tilted on the angle, so they'd just be pitch black and then turn for a wave and bright, so my eyes never adjusted. So that was actually really something I didn't expect. Just going, fuck, oh shit. My eyes are just like, were just cooked within an hour or two, and I thought the sunrise would get them because I'd been up so long. But it was a few hours in, my eyes were just like cooked. So that was right from the start.
Yeah, well, mate, you can swear as much as you want, by the way.
All right, good.
Let it out. It's unbelievable. What was it? Was there anyone closer? Like, what was the closest record prior to you breaking that?
Josh Ensland from South Africa. It was at 30 hours and 11 minutes. He did that in like 2015, I think.
Okay.
And I spoke to him. He reached out and said, hey, I don't want you to underestimate it. And I said to him, oh, your YouTube video looks sick. Look like you had fun. He goes, I made the edit. I made it look sick because, dude, I wore dorky goggles, had this hat on. I looked like shit. But I'm like, well, I'm glad you made the call because I was thinking, I got this. Like, I'll be able to, just do it kind of like a normal surf. You made it look fun. And he's like, yeah, I just thought I'd feel responsible if your eyes went, your shoulders went because I suffered quite a bit through the process and then for a few months after it.
Okay.
So he's a good dude to ring up and have a chat.
And you were just like, nah, this is going to be easy. But you smashed it by 10 hours. So, you made a statement out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And obviously it wasn't as easy as you thought it was going to be.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I'm a surfer. I know that not to set my expectations with the ocean. It's always going to win in the end. But it was an incredibly hot couple of days. And we were thinking hypothermia because we'd be waiting for waves and preserving energy. But my wave rate was so much that, dehydration became the factor that I didn't want to change wetsuits because I just wanted to do it how I said I'd do it. I wanted it to be like authentic and actually be like one long session, So I had 5 boards on the beach. I had 4 wetsuits and all this preparation, but I was like, I knew the whole time, like, no, I'm doing it as one surf, as close to a single session as I could. So when I was like cooked and just depleted and micro sleeping on my board, I was so angry about going in. Like I had to do safety checkups and I was just like, nah, I'm not coming in. and they're like, you got to go in or they're going to call it off.
No way.
With everything that's going on, like and I was just I was pretty at my wit's end for certain parts of it, But there was some pretty magical moments throughout it as well.
I bet, mate. I bet. I wish I was there to see it. And then the most recent one, obviously with the wave pool, and on the 40-hour session, how many waves do you reckon you got? What's the wave count?
The wave count, it's all documented, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all legit and proven for the world record. It's I rode a wave every 3 minutes 25 seconds for 40 hours and 7 minutes. So it was 707 waves.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Which 400 duck dives.
Yeah, it was like I think I got there's this weird little coincidence happened throughout as well, where like I rode my 500th wave at 5 a.m. exactly on that morning, and I just wanted to beat his record of 436 waves. But by 5 a.m., 2 hours before I even got to his time to beat it, I'd already ridden way more waves.
Wow.
So some of my rate was up, and I was just working harder than I needed to.
Yeah, a wave every 3 minutes.
Yeah,
on average,
and I got to that mark, and I've got OCD with 7. I'm like, I'm going to ride 700 waves. Lauren knew it, but no one else was kind of thinking, I've got to slow him down now. He's going to be cooked. He's coming to the world record. And but I just went, no, I've got to ride 700 waves. So that little is just a testament to that progress and continuing, helping you get through it, having that next little goal. Like, all right. I wasn't like, I've done it. I've just got to survive now. I was like, 700. I'm going to get 700. So, yeah, broke the world record at 7:12 in the morning. And then I still had 10 hours to go. And that was the roughest part. And then in the afternoon, it got pretty crazy down there. There was thousands and thousands of people by the end. The whole community got around it. And I rode my 707th wave at 5:07 p.m.
Wow.
And my, at the time, 10-year-old boy Bobby rode my last wave in with me, which was pretty special,
Yeah, wow.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then,
No, you can't ignore numbers and synergy like that, can you?
You can't, man. Like, I was been awake for 3 days. I was still doing cutties and rios at the alley, surfing with guys that I grew up with. Some had moved away that were surfing with me. And I came into the beach and I'm embraced by my 2 boys, my beautiful wife, kids I taught at the surf school, people chanting my name, my mum, my 4 brothers who hadn't been together since my dad passed away 10 years earlier. Drifted apart. They were all there in that moment. And without that energy and that connection from everyone, like physically, I don't know how, I would have burnt 27,000 calories, not slept for 4 days and still been able to not really talk, but, bring myself back to the beach. It's just like a testament to the power of community and connection. And
and Cronulla's such a
was
great
huge,
community too.
Man. Yeah, it was huge. And that's what led us to do the world's biggest paddle out like this March.
Yeah, saw that. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, full circle moment for you.
Yeah.
And
Get back to that moment. Everyone was there supporting me. I'm like, how can we do a world record together? So
that's mad.
Let's do a paddle out and celebrate one another. And that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was epic as well, obviously.
Such good footage from that one.
Yeah, that was
sick. And obviously you've got the 7 ingrained into the wave pool record for 4,097 as well. And I saw how you came in and you had one. I think you were like one wave before 97. So you had to go back out and get that last wave. Yeah. But like what was the hardest challenge between the two, do you think? Obviously they've got their own different,
I think emotionally, like bottom depths of emotion and just feeling that on the world's longest circuit, because I was awake for so long, physically just
deprivation.
Drained and at that point. But then equally as hard was that repetition, that every day getting up, knowing I had to put the booties back on, knowing the water was so cold, knowing that my body was just...
What temp was it?
10 degrees. Yeah. So pretty cold. So you needed booties and gloves and a hood. And I had the perfect formula. I figured out, what I needed. If the sun was out, if the wind was howling, I knew what I needed to wear. Had good gear, but like in 10-degree water, if you're out there without any gear on, you're going to get hypothermia within 45 minutes,
Yeah.
So you need that gear. And I wouldn't have, just lucky circumstance as well, like the pool was quiet. World wave pools are relatively new. There won't ever be a time where wave pools are that quiet again, like even if they are that cold, because it's such a cool experience. More people that want to learn to surf. And I was just lucky that I got that opportunity, and the weather was wild and I could just continue to ride so many waves. And that world record was really just reinforced what I already believed in about myself and other people, that how much we limit ourselves. Because initially I was thinking I'm going to do 117 sessions because I had to have a 7 in there because the previous record was 108. And I'm like, that's a lot of cold water, man. That's a lot of driving to Homebush. That's a lot of time away from the family. And then I ended up doing 253 hours, riding 4,097 waves. And, after the first day, just going, how the fuck am I going to show up tomorrow? How am I going to do it when I'm just rode 180 waves? How am I going to back that up tomorrow? And doing that for 25 days in the month was just like a testament that don't listen to yourself, just realize that the thoughts are there to help keep you safe and the brain's doing what's designed to do. And you're just a witness to that. And then you've got a lot more power in what you can create and bring to life. Like, it's hard to not sound cliche when you're talking about stuff like this, but it's like,
it's awesome because I've only done the wave pool 4 times and I was wrecked after it, and I think the first time was 10 degrees. I know how cold it is in that water.
Yeah.
Like, it fucking chills your head when you're going under the water in the pool. And I feel like a pussy even just hearing you've just that the first part of that is unbelievable, let alone the rest of it.
Yeah. So the stats are pretty cool. We had the AI tracking it, so everything, every second on a wave, like every turn, every type of turn. All every type of session, obviously, all those things are recorded, and it's just really cool to have that. And I'm a surf coach too, so to sort of surf nerd out on it, and be able to help people with not only their technique and the surfing, but their energy expenditure, and just be like, hey, and figuring out surfboards. There was so much cool stuff that I got out of it as well. And I probably that side of it exceeded my expectations. I thought, man, I'm going to be cooked. I'm going to be on a longboard for the last 3 weeks, but I was still surfing properly for the whole time up until my very last wave. And that was something, again, that just spoke to limiting what I thought it was possible, because I was told, you're not going to have the energy, you're going to be too tired. And I had 3.5 hours sleep for 6 weeks straight through that process.
3.5 hours on average every night.
Yeah, with
for 6 weeks.
Burning 4,000 calories a day, so more than a marathon a day, and only on 3.5 hours of sleep for 6 weeks.
You hate sleep, don't you?
I actually sleep really good. I sleep really good.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I sleep really good, just probably not long enough. My Whoop tells me I'm in a bit of debt, but
did you have that? Did you have that on during that?
I did. That was cool. That's how I know I had the 3.5 hours. I got all the stats on that from the Whoop.
Yeah,
and that was specific to the sleep and the strain and all that. And so he's just starting to come up into the green now. So
nice, good to hear. And obviously, aside from your personal pushing of the boundaries and the resilience individually, you're doing this for a greater cause with the Chumpy Pullin Foundation. So talk us through what other things you're sort of doing to raise awareness for certain foundations out there with everything you're doing.
Yeah, well, the first world record was for the Chumpy, and we raised $500,000. And that's gone into a documentary that's going to be released this year around mental health and suicide. And it's something I'm super proud of what Hyper Republic have come up with. Makara did 6 festivals film that came out last year, and Barra Boys documentary. They do some amazing work, and they were really behind my messaging and the story and how we can have impact. And my whole thing was so much about raising money, which we did a great job of. It was about taking action rather than just more conversation. So, and I think we do that by, living by example, doing things that we're going to do and showing up, and not just having another conversation around it. I mean, teaching actionable tools and having experiences that contribute to being healthy and happy. And that's what I wanted about, doing something visual like the world's longest surf, doing the world's biggest paddle out, showing that sense of community and connection, and having grown men and the youth seeing grown men hold hands for 10 minutes to get a world record in the ocean, and sort of just making people have an experience. So it's not just another thought that they're going to brush past. It's something, an experience that they can embody and remember and learn from. And that's what it's about. I don't want to make sure that I believe that the way that we make change in youth mental health, eliminate suicide, is with action, and it's targeting the youth. And the way we do that is be empathetic with them and live experience with them, because I'm just big on just knowing that, no one's got it figured out, man.
No.
There's certain ways and frameworks and structures, and no one's got it figured out, and kids are always instructed, spoken to, taught, coached. Yet we've got life's different than when we grew up than 5 years ago. It's rapidly changing, and they're experiencing things we can't even comprehend, and I think it's important that we experience stuff with them, talk with them, not to them, and lead with empathy, really show them that we don't have it figured out as well. We're still trying to do the best we can with what we know, and that allows them to be kinder to themselves and the people around them. And then we have people collaborating and making the world a better place. So it's the way that I see that we can actually have an impact.
And so important now more than ever, and I think it's going to continue to be so important with there's so much shit going on right now that there is unknown, there is, there's war at the brink, there's fucking technology pulling the rug underneath every single form of how we are meant to traditionally do any form of work, and like the next 10 years is going to be quite scary with what goes on. And, there's going to be a big separation there of like, fuck, if you get left behind on this whole shift of what's going on right now, then it's going to cause a lot of, I think, separation there from a societal point of view. So I think mental health and, checking in.
Well, it's everything,
man. Is important, right?
It's absolutely fucking everything. Yeah. If we can't function and lean towards being the people we want to be, then we're not going to, we can live a miserable existence.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important to check in on each other, right?
That's it. Yeah, for sure. Check in on yourself first and know that if you can show up your best self, you're contributing to to the world and the people around you, having an impact.
Be kinder to yourself as well, right?
Yeah, that's it, right? Like it's accepting who you are and being empathetic towards your own story, and that allows you to look at other people's perspective and know where they're coming from that little bit better. That self-awareness really lets you see, other people's perspective and be able to work with them and help them as best you can and share it with them as well.
Absolutely. You've got a new book coming out as well, I hear.
Yes,
launching pretty soon.
Yeah, it's out at the end of the month.
Talk us about that one. What's in that?
So that's my life. It's about my life and the surfing and the challenges and triumphs and tragedies that we all experience, and it's got 7 chapters, and it's also got a toolkit at the end of every chapter. So 7 tools in it that I use for my own mental health and well-being. And it's definitely not a how-to book. It's like if I can do it, anyone can. I'm no one special. It's just, I believe, I'm just curious to my own potential and the impact it can have on the people in the world around me. And I'm just curious for other people. I think sometimes I think I'm in conversations like this because I see more in people than they do in themselves. I'm like, man, if you can just see the best in yourself and focus on you'll give back and be that best dad, that best friend, that best person.
I love that. Yeah,
I think that's
and then that's actually like the opposite way of thinking. Because I think we're in a country that has a bit of tall poppy syndrome. So some people don't really want to see the best in you. So the fact that you sort of do see the best in others is not the norm in some settings. Yeah,
I know, but it's just learning not to compare yourself. You know what I mean?
Fully.
Like we've all got our own unique experience, and and that's what makes it special. We've all got a story. No one's is more important than the other person next to you. But if you've got the ability to make the world a better place and live an epic life, then you could go for it, right?
Yeah. What's stopping you?
Yeah,
absolutely. And then you got the documentary coming out as well.
Yeah, that's pretty pretty super proud of that. It's going to have a lot of impact. Some of the money raised from the world's longest surf's gone towards that, and it's going to be a useful tool to for people to make the change they want to make as well. A real life, raw experience of what a human story that actually says, I've been through hard things. These are my tools. You can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. When's the documentary coming out?
Documentary's coming out next month.
Okay.
It literally was finished last week. So
and then the book's coming out end of September.
Yeah.
So when everyone's listening to this podcast, it should already be available.
Yeah.
Where do you go and buy it? I actually want to have a read of it.
Yeah, I did the audiobook last week. I was in a dark room for 20 hours.
How was that?
It was brutal. I felt like I was a rabbit in a cage. It was brutal, but I let my hats off to anyone that's ever had to sit in an
20 hours,
office
how long
for
it takes?
a job.
Far out.
ADHD was in full swing then, bro.
Yeah, I think I saw you on your gram finishing it off, and you're losing your voice through it.
Yeah, I was losing my voice. I've already got a croaky voice, so it was like, it was cool. It was good to get it out. Like I put everything into that book. I think it was important for me to do, not just for other people, but for myself too.
Yeah,
a deep dive, and I've learned a lot through the last year of doing it, and not just through the process of what goes into making a book properly through a publisher and all that responsibility, but just personally just being open and honest and on the things that have shaped me, the relationships between my family, my friends, myself, with myself, and it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited for people to tell me what they think about it, and hopefully it helps a person or two, and that makes it all worth it.
Oh man, I'll definitely have a read of it. So when it's out, I'll grab a copy for sure.
Yeah, you won't listen to it. You don't need the croaky voice. Eh?
Nah,
They asked, they're like, "Oh, do you want to narrate it?" I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." Like, it'd be weird if someone was telling you my thoughts in for someone else's voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know that some books were like that, so I'm like, okay.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
I've got Audible. I've given a few books a crack. I've done Atomic Habits.
Oh yeah,
the whole Audible.
Does he read that? Does James Clear read that? He
reads it. Yeah,
that's what you'd want, right? If I'm reading an autobiography or something, I want no AI voice. I want it to be authentic,
for sure, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you've got hundreds of books and you don't have time to do it, but I think for a book like this, for sure.
Yeah, well, all in that personal development space, there's so many people use the same words, but it's people who follow up with actions, who live the lifestyle, who are it, that it actually resonates and makes a difference. Anyone can use words like values and authenticity and vulnerability, but to actually live it and show it, I think that's through actions, right? You've got to, and that's how you can have an impact. I think that's the way.
Fully, absolutely. And other stuff you get up to as well. I saw that you do a bit of nose breathing only running.
Yeah.
So you did about 10Ks, was it? And the nose breathing?
Yeah. Like I do that. I've done that for
breathing's essential with surfing, right? Like, and particularly with big wave
essential
surfing.
For absolutely everything in your
whole
living. Life, right? You can go for weeks without food.
Yeah.
Days without water. Couple of minutes without breathing, and your body shuts down and blacks out.
Yeah.
So it's vital to a healthy existence, and there's not much focus on it in education. So it's something that I became of interest to me through big wave surfing, learning how to hold my breath and build my confidence and tolerate the stress. And that's where a lot of this wellbeing tools, and when I do retreats and work with kids and my surfing, all my coaching's got to sort of turn into, emotional wellbeing. I call it swellbeing, like my book.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's for everyone. You know what I mean? The water is just a tool that we use sometimes to hold our breath. It adds, another element to your experience when you're learning about the power of the mind and what the body's experiencing when you're doing your breath hold. So, just learning to breathe functionally better, using what the body's designed for, using our diaphragm, using our lungs properly, and using our nose basically, because that's what it's designed for, to breathe. It cools and humidifies the air, and it is a challenge for most of us because we're not taught about breathing. We breathe through our mouth because of how much we talk, of our lifestyles, of stress that we engage, and it's important that we know how to breathe properly and breathe the way we're designed to breathe. And the benefits are almost immediate, I take people through a breathwork session, they're holding their breath for 2 minutes and they've never even tried to hold their breath longer than 20 seconds, just because they understand what the body's experiencing, and it's a beautiful tool. Like I do it with all the corporate stuff I do. Like we just use breath holds as a way to understand how the brain's just doing what it's designed to do. It's trying to keep us warn us and keep us safe. But it's so prominent, it's so loud, and we pay so much attention to it when our body's experiencing all those different senses at the same time. If we can bring our attention to that, we know how safe we can be in those moments, right? So I'll do one with you when we get off the mic.
Done. I actually had a good friend of mine, Eddie Nelson, came on, and she does breath work. She practices out in Bondi. And I stumbled across it. My back went out. Then I did a Pilates session in Bondi with my girlfriend, and we stumbled across breathwork class, and we booked in the wrong sessions. We ended up going, hey, fuck it, let's give it a go. And then it made me really aware. I'm a shallow breather, so it made me really aware how important it is just to reset. Like if you're shallow breathing, you're in fight or flight, and that causes stress. And I naturally tense up. So if I'm stressed and I'm shallow breathing, my body is just completely out of whack, and so it causes like my things to go out in my body. And I've been told that, but I didn't know how much it was affecting my overall well-being. And something simple as like, breathing's automatic. Why should I bother to go and manually breathe? But consciously breathing and actually doing it and understanding, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and it's an amazing tool. And I see a lot of like new products popping up with the mouth strips, to encourage sleeping, and breathing through your nose, and what you're doing as well. So there's obviously a lot more education around it now than there's ever been too. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. It's breathing. Like I use it, obviously conscious breathing every day for functional breathing and living healthy, but then also breath work to, use it to build resilience and mental strength through breath hold training and, deliberately exposing myself like the Wim Hof style, power breathing, and being, adaptable to those emotions you go through when you put yourself deliberately in a stress state. And it's it all makes perfect sense. When anyone does like a breathwork session or workshop, it's just full of aha moments, like the simplest things you told me. And I wrote in the book, I'm just like, this stuff, like my kids need to know this. I don't need to find it out as a 43-year-old man. Like, or, I'm having the same conversations with 60-year-old man that I am with, 10-year-old kids at surf school. Yeah. Telling them that, how our breath's connected to our body's emotional state. Like, and just, identifying that feedback loop between the breath, the body and the mind. So it's a complex system, but it's pretty basic to explain and understand how we have more control over it than we believe. It's not just automatic, the breath. We can, actually take control over what we're told is an automatic nervous system. So
yeah, absolutely. I think we're so conditioned just to like medicate it with a pill or go see a specialist and, get a massage or chiropractor or normal, physio, right? It's like, but you're not cutting it at the root of the problem. And you're right. Like something as simple as just like sitting there, being present, meditating and breathing can relieve a lot of that stress and tension, which, people suffer.
That's the problem, right? There's a lot of noise. Like you're in the marketing space and there's noise from everywhere. Everyone's trying to sell everything and do it. And there's
Tell me about it.
A spiritual realm that's too far away from where people are at. And then there's this scientific, medical, high knowledge based thing that looks like complicated and complex. And then where are most people at? They're fucking neither. So they never get anywhere with it. So it's about speaking to where most people are at to have an impact. And I think the language you use around it, not overcomplicating it, but not making it too vague. And, that was probably the hardest thing about writing my book. I was like, I don't want to pretend I'm an expert here because I'm not. I do research about things that I've experienced. I wouldn't say go and do anything the way I've done it, but this is what I've learned. And, not being too vague. So it just gets washed over and goes, oh yeah, you go and just change your breathing or do a back float and whatever. But there is science behind it and a bit of research into why these things are so impactful on how we feel and how we function.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Aside from breath work, like what are some of the other key things that you focus on to, maintain your level and to?
Well, I guess one of the main things is like I've always been a surfer. So dictated by what Mother Nature does, never had much routine and structure, and even running the surf school, we're on one day, we're off the next, we're moving around, and so my life's always just been dictated by Mother Nature. So, when I made some lifestyle changes and choices, having a routine, having something that gave me certainty, because there's so much uncertainty in life. It's a part of life that we have to accept, but we don't need to make it any harder than it is. And I learnt that, I've got my strategy. It's in the book. It's earn the sunrise, and I have a routine that I'm strict with, and it's about getting up and earning that sunrise and being grateful for what you have around you by the time the sun comes up. By the time the sun comes up, I've done more than most people have even gotten out of bed. So it's being out in nature, having a barefoot run, doing something challenging. Do a back float in the ocean, connecting with nature and myself, and then go up and have coffee with the old surf lords at Cronulla, and I'm connecting with humans as well. And then, I walk out and the sun's coming up. I'm like, perfect way to start your day.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. Mate, I can take a few leaves out of your book for sure.
But it seems extreme, right? Like getting up at 4 a.m. running. But it can be as simple as like making that change and setting your alarm 7 minutes earlier.
Yeah, just
grabbing a glass of water and go, that was for me, and I'm hydrating. Yeah. I've done something for my well-being. I've done that. Or a round of breath work, 30 seconds of breathing big and then holding your breath. And you've experienced something that morning that's with intention for you, for yourself. And it can mean for as simple as starting somewhere like that, taking the shoes off and walking around on the grass, not straight into a pair of freaking, leather shoes or clogs, and you feel connected to the world around you. Like that's simple and a way that you can feel connected to the moment you're in. Yeah,
but don't try and go from waking up at 8 to 4 a.m. straight away.
And wonder why you're falling asleep at work that day 3 times. That shit's, yeah. If it doesn't feel different, then it's not worth it,
Yeah,
like
fully.
It's that,
Yeah, because there's like, I think there's the big stigma around, I think definitely in the, certain industries having to wake up, get shit done, work really hard. It's just that on all the time, but it's just the ability to be able to switch off, right?
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I literally had a conversation probably a few days ago, would have been, this week, about, I get stuck in, my girlfriend and I get stuck in the routine during the week of like, wake up, breakfast, get in the car, drive to work, get home, dinner, watch a bit of TV, lucky to read a book, and then we're in bed. And we do that like 4 or 5 times. And if I'm not like consciously going out, and of course training in between, but if we're not consciously like going, let's go for a walk or let's go for a surf or let's just do something to break that habit of just defaulting to TV, bed, and waking up and going to work again, it drives me insane. And then I get to the weekend and I'm just like imploding, so it's just that sustainable approach because, I can't. I can't just keep doing the same shit over again. I don't like monotony. I need to have more in my day to day.
So that's one of the strategies that I've put in the book that I do. Like, I call it kook to juke. So just being vulnerable to try something new and different. You know what I mean? And it's just like I've got a WhatsApp group with about 80 guys on it, and I put things I'm going to do and invite them to come along. Sometimes no one comes. Often no one comes. Sometimes we get 11 guys doing a hike in the national park on a Thursday night. Because I make it be a different experience for them, something that breaks up their 9 to 5, something that breaks up their role as a parent. They do something different. They rock up to work, the most interesting person the next day. They might be tired, but they've got a story to tell about walking with this little barefoot weirdo through the national park the night before. And it's something new and something challenging that they can do as well. And I love that part of it as well. Always having something that breaks that routine, and that's where life can get. That certainty is a good thing to a degree, but if we're just in that hamster wheel, it's really easy to fall down and not recognize your own patterns and behavior.
Fully,
I think having those new experiences where you're further away from what you used to being comfortable in, I think that's really important part of keeping life exciting and fresh, and that's something that we can be responsible for. It doesn't have to be a hike at the night on a weekday. It can be like, mate, as simple as someone going, I feel pretty flat. Take a fucking different drive on the way home. Go the way off the tolls, Go on a little adventure and get home. You've had a different experience. Order something different at the pub that you go to every fucking night. Surf a different break, Say hi to someone that at work you never said hi to before, and then there's a different emotion and experience that you've had, and that's really healthy for you. It's proven to be really helpful. It helps rewire the pathways in your brain. So
absolutely, we're creatures of habit, and like don't wait for the weekend or that big trip just to like release all of that energy as well.
Slip away, man,
it's like that. That's not the way to do it either. You know, like people that just work and go away for a big trip for a month and then expect that that's going to be the settler. It's like, nah, like doesn't work for me. But it's so true. Those little things and incremental things, and just if you're not happy where you are, it's just make some changes. And they don't have to be changes, right?
Totally.
Now, aside from you got a very great support network by the sounds of it, and your wife and kids, like who do you sort of lean in on most? Outside of that for training, anything else like that, like who's sort of the go-tos?
That's something that I take responsibility for, you know what I mean, that I've learnt to take responsibility for. So many times I catch myself, I go, my best mate Scotty hasn't rang me. Dickhead hasn't rang me. I'm like, no, idiot. You're just as responsible. Give him a call and see him how he's going. You know what I mean? So just remembering things like that, like I've got good mates, I've got people that I can go to in different parts of my life, but I think the important thing is just having a bit of accountability to it, remembering that you are responsible for your relationships and you can strengthen and build relationships easily. And that's a part of a responsibility for your own mental health too, forming community and connection is the number one thing for our health and happiness. So it's important that we actually go, there's things I can do. I don't have to wait for that phone call. And how many often do we think we should call someone but we don't, or text someone but we don't, or go up to a party and don't do it? But, we make them feel good by showing up, but we're also doing something positive for ourselves as well. And I think that can just seem vague and not necessary, but like I said, it's been proven how it is the most important thing for us to be surviving and thriving.
That documentary Blue Zones, I think it's called, where they sort of they go and sort of document areas around the world. I think there's one in Japan, there's another one in Sardinia, around the highest concentration of people over the age of 100, and what the common threads are to sort of have, that concentration in those certain areas. And it came down to community, like you said, having a sense of purpose at older age, and fresh produce and connecting to nature. So it's exactly what you've just said then.
Yeah. It's a complex situation, but it's with the simple solutions, right?
That's right.
And that's the hard part, just seeing, as men too, I can relate back to my own experience, but it's just like, you think, that won't make a difference. If you feel shit, you feel shit. I'll get over it. I'll get through it. I'm tough enough to do it. Whatever it may be, however you talk to yourself. But like it really is, anything good that happens in our lives or anything that we get through is because the people around us support us.
For sure, yeah.
And if we do that consistently, that's how we build resilience and build strength as a community. We make that effort ourselves to strengthen relationships around us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're obviously passing on all this wisdom at the Cronulla Surfing Academy to the younger generation. How important is that for you to sort of, I guess, like hand over the baton to the younger kids and sort of, how see sort of the next rank?
I'm learning from them, man. I'm learning from them.
We do, don't we?
I'm totally learning from them. Like I said, I do my best. I'm a big kid myself, and I'm clearly very aware of my responsibilities I have of how I act around them and how I hold myself to it, and it's something that I take very seriously. So I think it's just like I mentioned earlier, it's being with them. You know what I mean? Not taking myself too seriously, because I 100% know I haven't got it figured out. I'm just trying to do the best I can and see the best in other people, and I want them to do the same thing, for themselves, and just again, being empathetic with them and understanding their story and where they're at, and experiencing life with them, and just coming back to it. We're all trying to figure it out, and if we're communicating and helping one another and having empathy with their experience, we can learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that is true. Like you said, like Cronulla as well, particularly. There's such a sense of community there, and I think like I've been living around East. I just moved back recently, and you really do appreciate a community like that, and I think any sort of community, any suburb.
Yeah.
I think when you don't have that, it's you feel a bit lost.
Yeah, you do. Like it's all that. It's the meaningful relationships that matter too. You can build them in a community like Cronulla, where like they're the ones that are going to recognise your strengths, but more importantly your weaknesses. When they see that, hey, Blake hasn't been himself for the last 3 weeks. Is he all right? Are you all right, mate? Are you really okay? Because they're spending time with each other. We've got common interests, or you're in the same place, situation, you make that effort. So when like you don't see your mate for 3 months, and then how are you going to know he's been feeling like shit for 6 to 8 weeks and he needs to check in, he needs to be doing more, be accountable to his habits, and whether you're the person to tell him or not, you can help find a solution and get the right person to help them as well. So it's recognizing, it's just pattern recognition, just making sure that you've got the relationships where you do have that support, and as a community, you can do that, And that's where we become more resilient as one. And
yeah, for sure. With anyone out there listening who's like, suffering from this, like what sort of tips and advice would you give, someone that sort of doesn't quite have the support community and, like that sort of needing to put their hand up?
Yeah, I would say change, like it's about self-awareness, right? So changing your experience, a lot of people when they're not feeling good are doing the same thing we spoke about before, that routine. They're not changing, but they're just building thoughts and ruminating on their own thing. And how we feel is a byproduct of what we're experiencing or what we've done in our lives. So changing that, like get up. If you're sitting there, guaranteed you're not out swimming at the beach and climbing a tree. You're sitting there ruminating in bed or on the lounge or by yourself. So being in, trying to be present with your surroundings, not just caught up in your head. So going for that little tiny walk outside, those small, get your body moving and connecting, I think mood follows action, and it's important that we remember that. And the whole time we're caught up in our head of trying to compile thoughts and figure it all out. Like I said, the brain's just doing what it's designed to do. We just don't want to feed it all that negativity. It's going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
We've got to have enough space to acknowledge that. And, if we go out and experience something different, the whole time that we're thinking so much, we're all our senses are engaged, our sight, our touch, our hearing, our taste, all these things are happening. And we can bring our attention into that. That's going to give us a different experience. When we can focus on that and be present with that, then we're not caught up in the rumination and the negativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. So changing your environment, like for me, it's like I've got lots of energy, right? Like, and I've learned that it's if I'm feeling negative or feeling low, it's just energy in the wrong place. So I can put that into going for a run, put that into there, and actually do that with intention, and it helps me through it and move through that emotion. And I guess just knowing that we move through it all, you know what I mean? We move through feeling happy, sad. Nothing lasts consistently forever. And that what you're feeling right now will pass. And if you're self-aware enough, you can, again, identify the habits to make changes to how you feel and you think and how you behave.
Yeah, it's literally taking the good and the bad and understanding that there is
it's all practice.
Both ends of the spectrum, right?
Yeah, you don't just click one day and go, good. No, you've got to actually take responsibility and go and, get yourself outside and go for a swim and change that experience so life kind of go after it, right?
Yeah, fully. It's like we sometimes act like we're here forever, but fucking life's short.
Yeah.
Mate, before we finish up, I'd love to just get some insights into like what the future holds for you. Is there any new challenges that you've got set that you're working on that you want to share or anything like that? Not really. Can't share.
My wife said I can do a world record every 2 years.
Okay.
So I don't know why the world record comes into it, but I guess it does now. So there's something I've got planned. It's pretty massive and scary. Pretty big, but I don't want to scare my wife off yet just yet.
She doesn't know yet.
I don't know, but this is the thing, and like I said, mental health keeps evolving, and you got to keep working on yourself and having something to work towards, and that's the biggest thing I could give. Like no matter when you are on the spectrum of mental health, if you've got something and making that little bit of progress towards it, that's where you find interest, self-value, excitement, joy, all these things, and I think that's such a powerful tool to always have something big and not be about getting to that destination, but just understanding the process it takes to get there, but having that, naming it, wanting to do it, making it exciting and fun. Like you can call it a misogi. Do you know what a misogi is? So misogi is a Japanese term for like a big or scary challenge. Traditionally, it was like jumping in under a waterfall or jumping in an icy lake to challenge the mind, spirit and body. But like modern day misogi is having a big audacious goal, a personal project each year that you work towards. So it might be a holiday or somewhere you've never been, or learning to play a song at the end of the year. It can be anything that takes time and commitment towards as well. And then you've always got something you're working towards making life. And it's good to choose something different, something outside your career, something outside your responsibility as a son or a parent or a mum and dad, to have it so it's fresh and new. And I think that's a really good tool to have, to consciously, like, you can call it a big goal if you want, but goals are so associated with work and sport and everything. I think this is more for you, what lights you up, something that that's, like I said at the beginning, something that the excitement outweighs the fear, and then it's the right thing to go towards.
Yeah, we lose that as we get older, because when you're young, you're so active, we're out there, rugby, soccer, fucking skateboarding, wakeboarding, surfing, bodyboarding, fucking everything.
Yeah.
And you lose those things because you just get trapped in that.
You get tied to your roles and responsibilities, right? That's what happens.
You lose it.
That's why play is a part of life and having fun, and
absolutely
we don't do that as much. So.
Yeah, and that ties down to your mental well-being, your physical well-being. It's just, and that naturally will provide you a better life.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just so neglected, but it's just the simple things, like everything we're saying today. It's not rocket science, but it's things that we neglect, which is right in front of us.
Yeah.
It's funny.
If anyone had figured it out, we wouldn't be having this conversation,
right?
But it is,
no
like,
one does.
Just comes down to curiosity. That's what it is, like being curious without judgment, and just no comparison or judgment, and just being curious to what you're capable of, and curious to what impact you can have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that word curious is key, being resilient. I think like the common threads to a lot of people I've had on this podcast is the curiosity is absolutely key, no matter what discipline you're in, and resilience, I think, is another non-negotiable there.
Yeah. I think resilience is good. It's just that word is said so often now.
It is. It's cliche. It is.
You know, it means adaptable to your environment, right? Like to be able to change and adapt to your surroundings.
Right.
So
yeah, and life constantly, business life, professions, whatever it is, constantly gets. You can't just accept a no, or there's always going to be a curveball, a roadblock, a challenge, and the moment that you're just like too hard, you're not going to be able to break through that.
Totally.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest things in anything you do at a high level is like being able to break through that barrier and being okay with missing shots or getting put down or whatever. It's just picking yourself up, you know, training each day as though it's the first and starting again.
Yeah, I think like for me, where I'm at and right now is just thinking we have so much more power than we're led to believe without going down some weird path with this conversation. But it's just like, you know what, you really can. I got my book and I'm looking at it the other day. I'm like, fuck, I feel like this is like chapter 1. This isn't my whole story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of how much I know I've limited myself, even on day-to-day things. So I'm excited. I'm excited to do some fun things and bring people along the way and let people have those experiences too. So back to your question 4, it's like, I've got some big challenges I want to do personally, some outside of the water, which will be cool. And, show vulnerability, be a kook and start things. And then you give people the opportunity to do it too, to challenge themselves and find their self-worth and belief and go beyond where they think is possible. And I think that's how I can help people as well.
Yeah. Great. Any lasting
some surf marathons? I reckon we do a surf marathon.
Surf bender.
I've got a surf bender at the pool.
3-day surf bender.
That's actually a legit idea I already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're up.
I'm done. I'm in.
You got to do 10 hours. You got to ride 100 waves next year in the wave pool. You've got to raise money.
I'll be there
for youth mental health.
Yeah.
And we're going to you can do it in a team or you can do it individually.
Yeah.
And raise money for a surfathon.
Count me in, mate. I'm going in a couple of weeks with my business advisor. He's a sort of an old frother. So I'm going out with him doing one session, taking a break, and then another session. That's good for me.
Yeah.
2 sessions in one day. That's good for me.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah, but I'll definitely get around that next year. That sounds like a lot of fun. Any lasting comments for the Groms out there or anyone else in your network that you want to sort of shout out to at all?
Yeah, I just think remember to be kind to yourself. And that, I always say it, but everyone deserves to feel awesome, and that includes you.
That's great. Very good. Now, in terms of getting the book and watching the documentary, where do people find the book and where do people watch the documentary?
The book will be across all platforms,
okay.
In all bookstores, and then across Apple, Audiobook, Amazon, everything on the 30th of September. And the documentary will be released next month. There's no official date yet, but we're really excited about that and doing some Q&As and tours around that so we can dive deeper into ways people can live their best lives and work through their mental health and be the best person they can be.
Awesome. Well, everyone look out for that. And mate, pleasure to have you on. There's so much stuff that I could continue to sort of go into, and I'm looking forward to reading the book and watching the documentary, going out for a surf, and just sort of watching you on your next big challenge, whatever that is, and congratulations with all your success, and you're an inspiration, and you've actually given me a lot of motivation today as well. So appreciate you and appreciate everything you do.
Awesome. Cheers, Blake.
Cheers, mate.